Well, welcome to this Saturday edition of our Lenten devotionals. Today's story is the story of blind Bartimaeus, and this is the last episode in Mark's Gospel right before Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. There's still several miles to go, but I mentioned earlier that this central portion of Mark's Gospel is bracketed by two recovery of sight stories. And this is one of the many neat things I like about Mark's writing style, is that he will often bracket something. I tend to call that a Markan sandwich. There's actually a more technical term for that, but I just like the sound of Markan sandwich. It's easy to remember, and you sort of come to understand the meat in terms of the two slices of bread. This is Mark's way of saying, look at this central portion of this gospel and see what it looks like to be a follower of Jesus. Pay attention to what Jesus teaches in this section, and remember that he is leading his disciples toward Jerusalem. I'll begin reading in Mark chapter 10, beginning with verse 46. They came to Jericho. As he and his disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho, Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many sternly ordered him to be quiet, but he cried out even more loudly, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stood still and said, "Call him here." And they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take heart, get up, he is calling you." So throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. Then Jesus said to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And the blind man said to him, "My teacher, let me see again." Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." Immediately he regained his sight and followed him on the way. So the main thing that I want to do with this passage today is to contrast blind Bartimaeus with the blind man at Bethsaida, which was the first of this series of Lenten devotions that I did. The blind man at Bethsaida has no name, and you'll notice that the blind man in Jericho has a name, and it is Bartimaeus. The blind man at Bethsaida was brought to Jesus by other people, and those people asked Jesus to heal that blind man. But Bartimaeus acted on his own. He began to cry out, and even when people in the crowd ordered him to be quiet, he persisted in calling and reaching out to Jesus. Once the blind man at Bethsaida was healed, Jesus asked him to go home and not even go into the village. On the other hand, blind Bartimaeus, once he recovered his sight, he began to follow Jesus on the way. And so it looks like, as we have come along this journey with Jesus and his disciples, what it means to follow Jesus now looks more intentional, more persistent than it did in the beginning. And some of us may have an encounter with Jesus and respond much like the blind man at Bethsaida. But we aspire, I hope, to grow and become like Bartimaeus, intentional, really persistent in wanting to follow Jesus wherever Jesus leads. So a prayer for today is, Holy God, open our eyes and show us the way of the cross. Amen. I hope you'll join us for Palm Sunday service, Facebook Live at 10:30 with Pastor Lisa's Palm Sunday message, These Stones Would Shout Out. All right, be safe and make a great day.